Hey, Steve Gamache here with the Chef Knives to Go quick look product review, and what we're looking at this time is the Chef Knives to Go. This is the maple end grain cutting board, and it is the 18 by 12 inch version that's 2 inches thick. So there's a few different models. There's an 18 by 12 that's 1.5 inches thick, and then there's this one that's 2 inches thick. So this again is all maple versus the other one is a mixed wood. So you might see some different combinations of these coming from this maker, but nice and thick, so it's got some heft to it over the 1.5 inches you might expect. And this maker does a really nice job with their cutting boards. They are well made, they're tight, they stay flat, at least the ones I've had experience with. They take oil nicely, and he puts handhole grooves in each side, so you've got easier way to pick the cutting board up. 12 by 18 is a really good size for a lot of average tasks that you might do in the kitchen, by still being reasonable enough as far as weight goes and size goes. You might be able to get it in your sink if you need to. You can pick it up, move it around, doesn't have to stay on your counter. So I have used a board by this maker it's an 18 by 12 board by 1.5 for a good maybe year and a half now, and it's been a great board, stayed flat, really wears nicely, and it's just a well-made board. If you take care of a board like this and you oil it occasionally and wipe it down, don't let it sit wet, dry it on edge so it doesn't warp, this can last a lifetime. You can pass it on to some other people further down the line. I mean, it will last that long if you take care of it. So it's just a really good investment if you like to be easier on your knife edges and you want something that's interesting and a nice piece of craftsmanship. This is a pretty cool product. In terms of size, how big should your cutting board be? It's a pretty common question. A typical answer would be if you can fit your knife diagonally on the cutting board, it's big enough for most types of tasks you might do, depending on, of course, the size of the products. This is a 210, it's actually about 205 millimeter knife, and then this one's a full 240, maybe 243, 244. So you can see either of these will work just fine. I use a 240 like this all the time on my 18 by 12, and it works just fine. It's not a huge board, so you don't get a lot of room to like push ingredients around and create piles, but as long as you got a board scraper or something, you can move product off into some prep bowls or something. There's really lots of room to work. Like I said, you just can't pile a bunch of stuff up on your board. But again, lots of working room. Not too big, not too small. It's just a good size, not too heavy. So you can order this board with or without feet. There's a drop down when you go to order it. So some people like to use no feet, and then they can flip the board over and use the other side and wear that. Or they can flip the board over on the side they don't use for presentation purposes, for serving things to guests, whatever. If you use the feet, the nice thing about that is the board will get ventilation under both sides, and also you've got some gap there. You can slide maybe a knife under there, or you could slide your board scraper under there, so you've got so a nice place to hold that. If you do decide not to use feet, I don't on mine. You need something usually under the board to kind of give it a grip to the countertop that the work surface you're working on, and you can use non-skid shelf liner works really good. Silicone baking mats work pretty darn good. You don't want to use like damp paper towels like you would use under a poly board, because you don't want the moisture on this wooden cutting board. But there are a number of options you have to keep the board from sliding around. Anyway, great product. The maker does an awesome job with this, and it's just a well-designed product at a fair price, and it'll last you a long, long time if you take care for it well. So there you have the Chef Knives to Go end grain maple, full maple cutting board, 12 by 18 inches by 2 inches thick.